it's been about a month since my last update, so I thought now was a good time to talk about what's going on in my age 51 menopausal life. So, a quick recap as to what's been going on for any of you that aren't following the previous videos. There's only a few. So, 3 months ago, I was taken off the combined pill that I'd been on for forever, and I thought was probably helping me to stabilize some of the hormone fluctuations that I'm getting. And I was concerned that in the few months prior to that happening, to that stopping, I had suddenly noticed that all my menopause symptoms had started to decrease. And by the time they told me that they were going to take me off the combined pill, they'd all gone. So I wasn't getting loads of different symptoms. I had brain fog, quite a lot of fatigue, general energy loss, and also the crashing fatigue that you can get where you just suddenly, out of nowhere, you're just absolutely exhausted and you can't do anything. And I also had the itchy skin, which was an absolute nightmare. I had some joint and muscle stiffness. Last year, I had a lot of pain in the soles of my feet, which I didn't realise until I think it was earlier this year, is because of the because when you go through this hormone change, your body stops producing or making collagen as efficiently. You need collagen to keep your skin bouncy, and it also takes care of your ligaments and your joints and your muscles. So it's all important for so many things. So I'd had some of that last year, and I'd also had, and I can't remember if I've mentioned this as a side effect before, but my toes were going numb, and apparently that's really common as well. So I was just getting used to all these weird things going on. And the headaches, of course, I would get headaches that were very often triggered by if I'd not had a good night's sleep, if I was dehydrated, certain kinds of alcohol could trigger it. And I would end up having 3-day headaches where I just couldn't function. I suppose you could say they were like on a par with a migraine. I couldn't do anything. I'd be so ill with it. And so all those things started to decrease, and I thought, well, maybe that's all in part because of the supplements I take. So a year ago, I started taking magnesium because magnesium is supposed to be good for fatigue. And then I started taking vitamin D, and I kept taking that right through the winter, and I had quite an energetic winter for me because I don't do very well with the low light levels, but I was surprisingly buoyant considering. And then earlier this year, I started taking vitamin B6. And then just a couple of months ago, once things felt like they were calming down, I started to look at other things. So I was looking at how can I improve my collagen production. Now, there's all sorts of wonderful, fancy, expensive things you can buy, like the collagen gummies and the proteins and the powders and all that sort of thing, but they're way over my price budget, just so expensive. So I was looking at how your body naturally produces it, and one of the things that you need apparently is vitamin C. And so I looked into this and I thought I'm going to go down the cheapest route because I do not have the money for expensive supplements and things, and not knowing whether any of these things are going to work because they can take quite a long time to kick in. So I started buying vitamin C effervescent tablets. They're soluble, they go in water, and then you sip the water gradually throughout the day because vitamin C is soluble, which means it goes into your body and you basically just pee it all out. So you need to be really careful about how you take it. So I have one of my half-litre bottles, and I put it in there and I sip it in small amounts throughout the day so that my body's taking in as much of it, particularly when you've had a meal, so it's being absorbed a bit more. But it can take quite a while for you to see an effect from it. So I've only been taking it for, I'm going to say 2 months. I've lost track already. But it can take 11, 12, 13 weeks for you to see any signs of improvement. So, and I've noticed this, that when I started taking magnesium, it was quite a long time before I started to notice any change with the fatigue. But I don't know if the fact that all these symptoms have suddenly, or not suddenly gone, but over the course of a few months minimised and then disappeared, is because of those supplements, which I started taking a year ago, or if this is my body naturally going through a hormonal change. And that's because, so I came off the combined pill and I thought, oh God, this is going to be a nightmare, because that was replacing the estrogen that I was getting, and the estrogen levels that you get in the pill is much higher than HRT. And I haven't gone down the HRT route because I don't feel that I warrant it. I don't think I'm, most of it I can bear with. It's not crippling my life. It's not stopping me from working or travelling or sleeping or anything like that. So I thought, I'm not going to bother with that. I'll do that if it becomes bad, but I don't feel that I can warrant it, especially with the financial outlay. So they converted me from the combined pill to the mini pill, which I don't really know what that's doing, because it doesn't have the estrogen in it. It's just designed to stop you getting pregnant, which is not a worry for me. But I've kept taking it because I don't know whether it's a good transition from taking one pill to maybe not taking any at all. So I've stayed on it, and I'm just coming to the end of my third month now, and I haven't noticed any changes, not in that respect. So all the symptoms that were disappearing before, when I was still on the combined pill, have not come back. Even the brain fog's a lot better. All that seems to be a lot better. The only difference is I've now got, so there have been one or two things that have changed. So the pain in my joints, I don't know if it's my joints or if it's the muscles and the ligaments surrounding my joints, in my knees and in my ankles, is worse. And again, I'm doing the vitamin C, which gives you the vitamin C maximum you can have a day, which is 1,000 milligrams. It's going to take time to know whether or not it's going to work. We'll see how we get on. And I've noticed that my shoulders are a bit more painful. I've had frozen shoulder in the past, and I am in the habit of, catching my shoulder and doing injuries and things. So I don't know whether that's related to it or not. The other thing I've noticed is, and this is only on my left side, so the tendons that are in the opposite side to the elbow, I've noticed that these, I feel like I've lifted weights and I've pulled it, like I've pulled the muscles, I've pulled the tendons, but I haven't. So it'll really hurt, like when I'm brushing my teeth, things like that. And I'll notice when I stretch my arm out again that it pulls and it hurts. The other thing I've got is that my left hand goes numb. So last year I had numb toes, and that tingling and loss of sensation in extremities is actually surprisingly common in menopause. So now it's in my left hand, and it comes and goes. It's not there all the time. It just comes and goes at various times. And I've also noticed that I've got a lump in my hand here, like where the joint is, and it feels like more than a coincidence that it's happened on the hand, where I have this what feels like a strain in my muscles and my ligaments on my arm, and also the tingling in the hand. So it's funny how when things go wrong with me, it tends to be on my left side, and I'm left-handed. So maybe because I use my left hand a lot more, maybe it's exaggerated that. So I get sciatica, it's in my left side, and my frozen shoulder was in my left side. So it seems to be a left thing, and I don't know if it's just because I am very left-handed, so I will do a lot more with my left than my right. So those are the things that have now come into play, whereas all the other things have now almost entirely disappeared. It's very strange. I mean, when I compare my experience to that of my best friend, who has had pretty much every menopause symptom under the sun, and some of them are really wildly strange things, I consider myself lucky, to be fair. So that's really what's been going on in the last month. because all this has started in the last month since I posted my last video. The only other thing that I've noticed I've been getting, again, very on and off, it's not all the time, is I'm getting hot flashes, which I never really had before. I think I'd had one or two like last year. I had 2 last year and that was it. And now this now seems to be a thing which comes and goes regularly throughout the week. They're not like massive. They're not as bad as the first time I had it, where I nearly fainted on the floor because didn't help that I was out in a restaurant, in the middle of a busy restaurant. Wasn't helpful. They're much more low level now, and they've kicked in just as we've gone into autumn and the weather's a lot cooler. So I'm not having to deal with that, with the horrendous heat that we had this summer. So as soon I can feel it coming on, and I just take off a layer and then it subsides. So that's where I am now. I have a numb left hand some of the time, more joint and muscle aches and discomfort generally. It doesn't stop me walking, but it's particularly in the evening when I get off my feet at the end of the day, and I'm on my feet quite a lot, which probably doesn't help. So there's that, the hot flashes, and that's pretty much it. So apart from the vitamin C, I haven't added anything new to my repertoire. I'm just carrying on with what I've got. But I don't know if the supplements are just a coincidence, or if it's my body just going through a natural change in hormones, like those side effects have now gone and now we've moved on to the new things. I'm probably about 4 or 5 years into the menopause now, so I reckon I'm probably halfway through-ish. Could be more than that, I don't know. It's all a wonderful guessing game. And that's it, really. So that's been my experience. I'll be interested to know if you've experienced any of that. The loss of sensation is really irritating. When I had it in my feet last year, I had it in my toes, and only certain toes as well, and it was just so annoying. It's a bit weird, and it's and I don't know if I've trapped something in my shoulder or something, because it's now, I'm getting more uncomfortable to sleep on my side. So I like to sleep on my side, especially this side. But if I do, I'm finding that my hand is going numb as well. So I think there's a whole range of weird little things going on there. But none of this is as bad as the previous things. The fatigue was horrific. The headaches were horrific. The headaches now, I still get them, but they're far more evenly spaced. Still triggered by sleep, dehydration, but I'm really careful to monitor those things. And I find that instead of having them for 3 days and having a day where I can feel it's coming in, a day where I can barely function, and then a day where I'm not great, but I know I'm going to come out of it, they now last 2 days. They're not as bad. And if I can pick up that it's coming, if I take a couple of paracetamol, I can kill it dead off straight away. Or by the end of the day. So I think I've got a handle on that now. And I think, it's just my natural hormones changing. So that's that. That's my update. Give me an update on how you're getting on. Because, the numb hands and things is really weird. It's really irritating. It's an annoyance more than anything. The lump here, it's not a massive lump at all. It's more sore than anything, but only when I poke it. I don't feel it all the time. And again, I'm pretty sure it's a bit like how my knees and my ankles feel when I'm using them. Because, I think I should have dealt with the collagen issue at the same time as I was dealing with the magnesium issue that when I first started taking supplements a year ago, but I haven't, and I'm now trying to play catch up, which is not good, because I don't want my joints to feel like this for the rest of my life. Because if I don't do something about it, you can end up with the damage being permanent, because I'm never going to get that natural collagen production back again, because your hormones are done for. But if I can, the vitamin C supplement I'm taking apparently is the equivalent to something like 20 oranges a day. It's a lot. But because your body isn't processing it as efficiently as it used to, you need to ramp it up to the full max to try and retain as much of it as possible and allow your body to actually do something with it. So I don't know how long it's going to be before I notice an effect with it, a change in whatever with that. We'll have to see what happens with that. So that's the update on a very, very cold, wet and windy October afternoon. Storm Amy is here. She's blowing through the northwest at the moment, and I'm slightly cosy indoors. Anyway, so that's my update. That's all I have at the moment. I haven't picked up on anything else in the news or anything recently, but do point me to anything that would be an interesting read. I'm always interested in doing more research, and I'm always looking up things just to make sure that I'm getting the right amount of information on stuff. Anyway, so that's my update. So thank you for watching. Do drop your comments, any constructive advice, because I get some odd ones sometimes. And I'll catch you whenever I next have an update. Speak to you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.